Today is December 3rd, 2022. Current physique update. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is my health, wellness, and fitness update for week 7. Current weight, 314 pounds, so down 4 pounds from last week's weigh-in. Last week, my weigh-in, I was up 1 pound from the week prior. It was a weigh-in following Thanksgiving and kind of an entire bad week of eating, so I wasn't too shocked that I gained a pound. What I am happy to see is that my weight went down 4 pounds, which is kind of where I thought I'd be. High carb foods tend to make me retain more water, especially when I add in high sodium with it. So even though I gained a pound last week, I was kind of assuming most of that might have been water weight, because the food portions, as I've mentioned in prior videos, even though I haven't been going true keto or carnivore, I've had mistakes pretty much regularly, or at least weekly. Not every day, horrible mistakes, but I may have like a meal out and it's totally something I shouldn't have, and I just correct that action by eating less food for the remainder of the day or correcting it the following day. So basically it's been all about keeping a caloric deficit over like the period of the week. Ideally from day to day. I don't want to get into a point where, or get into a situation where I'm consuming too many calories, say like 2 or 3 days in a row, and then I'm stuck fasting a lot or eating very little. That's not fun either, trying to play catch up. So what I've done has just been reasonable. If I have, a 1,500 calorie meal, I just eat less food for the rest of the day. I have not been tracking calories strictly, as I've mentioned in prior videos. So it's mostly been eyeballing it. So I am noticing that my blood sugar is continually improving, which is positive. At this point, most of my blood sugars throughout the day are pretty much normal after foods. I think the rule is they want to see you under 140 after 2 hours post-meal, and I'm always pretty much there. The only time I'm not is when I totally screw up. Like earlier this week, I had Chinese for lunch. And while I did eat a reasonable amount of food, it was like orange chicken, stuff that's like high in sugar, high in fat, and also some carbs. I did have some like lo mein noodles with it. And I noticed that in that situation, my blood sugar was elevated for multiple hours after eating. Matter of fact, 4 hours later, it was like 153 or 156. Anyway, it wasn't where it needed to be. But under other circumstances, even eating carbs, when I don't combine it with a lot of carbs with a lot of sugar, I should say complex carbs with sugar, simple carbs or high glycemic index foods, I don't seem to have as much of a problem. So I think eating like a keto carnivore diet would only help me even more. So I'm gonna really try to buckle down and have less of these, bad foods during the week, and then see how that goes. I think I'm only going to see improvements. As I've mentioned in last week's video, this is kind of an odd video because it's being filmed a week before you see it. So as I explained in last week's video, kind of like skipping a week, it wasn't because the results after the holiday turned into some kind of a bad deal. It's just, a convenience thing. So it's kind of weird making this video for the future. So anyway, I had, for the most part, an okay week. Things didn't go totally as planned. I am going to keep trying to improve on the diet, but the biggest thing is focusing on more exercise. That's kind of where I'm falling short. I'm not really doing much. So I need to try to focus on that. It's pretty difficult for me just to get into the groove, but I think once I get there, I'll be okay. I think keeping my carbs lower and also adding in more movement exercise, I'm going to start seeing better results. One other thing that I've noticed that I want to share is I've shared that I've been doing like some keto cocktails during the week, diet mixers with like say tequila, vodka, gin, whiskey, something that's like zero carb. I've noticed And I really do think that's actually probably been my biggest setback. I've been losing the 2 pounds a week, which isn't bad. It's consistent, and it's 2 to 3 pounds is what they say is the most you should try to lose anyway. But I think I would be losing like more just by cutting that out. What I've noticed, I've cut out beer. I've done really well at that. I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't ever have beer on the weekends. I'm allowing myself like Fun Day Sunday, that has turned into a couple extra beers here and there. But by far, I drink way less beer than I used to, and it's pretty limited to mostly just Sunday, and it's not in like crazy amounts. What I find that I actually am drinking more of is just these keto cocktails, and it actually ends up being more than if I had just drank the normal beers that I would during the week, or the typical beer purchases I used to make. So what I'm finding is like I'm benefiting from not having the carbs from that aspect, so controlling blood sugar by not drinking the beer has been positive. But the negative has been that like I actually end up drinking more than if I would have just had the beer, from an alcohol consumption standpoint, because, pouring like a 2-shot or 3-shot, diet mixed beverage is easy to do, and you might have 2 or 3 of them, and all of a sudden you realize that you're consuming more than you would if you were just having a few beers every day. So it's kind of like giving up one evil for another, and that's what I've noticed has been my most recent, come to realization moment, is that my keto cocktail drinking, something that I've kind of like normalized, is probably my biggest setback, in this whole getting back into shape and getting healthy and whatever else. So this week, I'm proud of myself. I haven't had not one cocktail this whole week. So that's something I've kind of been doing pretty much every week. I've been, not every day, but every week I've been having my fair share of these keto cocktails, multiple days a week. And I think it's really been a big hindrance in my progress. I've probably mentioned it in prior videos, but my understanding is when you consume alcohol, your body stops processing the other macronutrients, fat, carbs and protein, to prioritize getting rid of the alcohol. So, I've been eating majority of my food in the evening time, and then also consuming like these keto cocktails, and that's probably slowing down progress. Like overall, it's still calories in, calories out, but again, alcohol also has calories. So even though it's diet mixer, 0-calorie mixer, you're consuming it with, say, like let's take Jack Daniels. I'm pretty sure it's 60 calories an ounce. So if you're doing like a 3-ounce drink, you're looking at 180 calories. What if you do 3 of those? So that's a lot of extra calories without even realizing it. So and it adds up. And it also, I think, slows down your body's ability to process the rest of the food that you consume, and also burn fat. And from what I've read, alcohol consumption can inhibit fat burning to some degree, just because, I don't know, it has something to do with how your liver has to process it. And your liver also has a lot to do with you eliminating or processing fats. So anyway, alcohol consumption is pretty counterproductive. I realize this, but I've come to realize that I'm actually, trading one bad behavior, the high sugar, high carb, craft beers. I'm giving up that passion or love, just to consume more, keto cocktails. And so I think that's, detrimental in a different way. So anyway, I'm rambling about this now, but anyway, this past week I haven't had one cocktail, and I'm really proud of myself for that. I am, as I mentioned last week, also I am going to be doing Shotgun Sunday drinks, chugs. I would like to do a YouTube short and share that on other social media platforms, as well as like beer groups on Facebook. So I'm doing that every Sunday, and so I'm still going to have some beer in my diet, but it's going to be moderation, and it's hopefully going to be just kind of like limited to Sunday, so we'll see how that goes. But as it stands right now, progress is still moving forward. I've recovered from my Thanksgiving week of bad choices, and the progress is right where I had hoped it would be. So all positive things. It's always good to self-reflect and see where you could be doing better, or where you're really failing and maybe you're fooling yourself. kind of like my example with the keto cocktails, just fooling myself into thinking it wasn't a big deal. And I think it really is a bigger deal than I wanted to believe. So anyway, going forward, we're going to see, this coming week, if I don't indulge, which I have no intentions on, we'll see how that pans out. And I think we might see more weight loss as a result of it. And also I noticed this past week, my sleep has been much better. When I was having cocktails in the evening, my sleep would be worse, so it's no secret that alcohol interrupts your sleep patterns. So this past week I was able to get more sleep, more restful sleep, and just generally better sleep. So sleep more, that's better. So anyway, that's all I got for you this week. This video turned out to be a lot longer than I had planned. I will see you next week in the next video. Please like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, throw them in the comments below. I try to get back to everybody, and I'll see you next week. Take care.